Castor oil and baking soda may sound ordinary, but when used with understanding, they touch two powerful drivers of aging: chronic inflammation and internal balance. This is why some people reach their mid-80s with the skin quality, mobility, and energy of someone decades younger. Aging is not just about time. It is about what is happening inside your body every single day. Castor oil is not a cosmetic shortcut. Its value lies in its biological activity. Rich in ricinoleic acid, castor oil interacts with pathways linked to circulation and inflammatory signaling. When circulation improves, tissues receive more oxygen and nutrients, and waste products are cleared more efficiently. Reduced inflammatory stress allows the body's natural repair systems to function without interference. This is one reason why consistent, moderate use has been associated with better skin elasticity and joint comfort over time. Chronic inflammation is one of the most underestimated forces driving the aging process, yet it quietly influences nearly every visible and invisible change that occurs in the body over time. Unlike acute inflammation, which is a short-term protective response to injury or infection, chronic low-grade inflammation operates beneath the surface for years. It does not announce itself loudly. Instead, it slowly disrupts cellular communication, damages tissue, and interferes with the body's natural ability to repair itself. This persistent inflammatory state accelerates biological aging far more aggressively than the number of years a person has lived. When inflammation remains active for long periods, cells are forced to operate in a defensive mode rather than a regenerative one. Immune signals stay elevated, stress hormones circulate continuously. Energy that should be used for repair is redirected toward survival. This shift affects collagen production in the skin, leading to wrinkles and loss of elasticity. It stiffens joints by irritating connective tissues. It disrupts metabolic pathways, contributing to fatigue and weight imbalance. What appears externally as aging is often the cumulative result of years of inflammatory overload at the cellular level. Here's the critical insight many people overlook. Aging does not start on the surface of the skin or in the joints. It begins in the microenvironment surrounding cells. When that environment is saturated with inflammatory chemicals, oxidative stress increases, and DNA repair mechanisms become less efficient. Cells divide with less precision, damaged proteins accumulate, and tissues lose their structural integrity. Over time, this internal chaos becomes visible. The face changes, energy drops, recovery slows. The body is not failing, it is responding to long-term stress signals. Scientific research consistently shows that individuals with lower inflammatory markers tend to age more slowly, regardless of genetics. Their blood vessels remain more flexible, allowing better nutrient delivery. Their immune systems are better regulated, responding when needed and resting when not. Their mitochondria, the energy factories of the cell, function more efficiently. These internal advantages translate into clearer skin, stronger muscles, sharper cognition, and greater resilience against age-related decline. The body, when not overwhelmed by inflammation, retains its ability to maintain itself. What makes chronic inflammation particularly dangerous is that it often feels normal. People adapt to stiffness, low energy, brain fog, and digestive discomfort, assuming these are inevitable parts of aging. In reality, these are warning signals that inflammatory pathways have been active for too long. The body is communicating, but the message is subtle. Addressing inflammation early and consistently can dramatically alter the trajectory of aging, even later in life. Another overlooked aspect is the role of lifestyle-driven inflammation. Poor sleep, psychological stress, ultra-processed foods, sedentary behavior, environmental toxins all contribute to inflammatory burden. Each factor alone may seem insignificant, but together they create a constant inflammatory background noise. When this noise is reduced even modestly, the body responds with measurable improvements. Skin repair accelerates, joint mobility improves, energy becomes more stable. These changes are not sudden. but they are cumulative and profound. Importantly, reducing inflammation is not about suppressing the immune system or eliminating all inflammatory responses. Inflammation is essential for healing. The goal is regulation, not elimination. A well-regulated immune system knows when to activate and when to stand down. This balance allows repair processes such as autophagy, collagen synthesis, and vascular maintenance to proceed without interruption. When inflammation is brought back into balance, aging slows, not because time has changed, but because the internal conditions that drive degeneration have been corrected. This is why individuals who prioritize inflammatory control often appear younger than their chronological age. Their bodies are not wasting energy on constant internal conflict. Instead, that energy is invested in maintenance and renewal. Aging becomes a gradual, graceful process rather than a rapid decline. The most powerful anti-aging strategy is not external enhancement, but internal regulation. Because when inflammation is managed, the body remembers how to take care of itself. Circulation is the delivery system of life, and its efficiency determines how well every tissue in the body functions over time. Blood flow and lymphatic movement are responsible for transporting oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and immune cells, while simultaneously removing metabolic waste and inflammatory byproducts. When this system operates smoothly, tissues remain resilient and responsive. When it slows or becomes congested, cells experience stress, repair mechanisms weaken, and the visible signs of aging begin to accelerate long before disease appears. As circulation declines, even slightly, cells are forced to operate under suboptimal conditions. Oxygen delivery becomes inconsistent, nutrient uptake is reduced, and waste products linger longer than they should. This creates a microenvironment that favors inflammation and tissue breakdown. Skin loses its ability to regenerate efficiently, leading to dullness and loss of elasticity. Muscles fatigue more quickly. Joints become stiff, not because of age alone, but because waste accumulation irritates surrounding tissues. These changes are often mistaken for unavoidable aging, when in reality they reflect impaired cellular logistics. The lymphatic system plays a critical but frequently overlooked role in this process. Unlike the cardiovascular system, it has no central pump. It relies on movement, hydration, and tissue health to function properly. When lymphatic flow is compromised, inflammatory molecules and cellular debris accumulate, amplifying tissue stress. This stagnation can subtly affect facial appearance, limb heaviness, and immune responsiveness. Supporting lymphatic movement reduces inflammatory load and creates conditions where tissues can repair rather than deteriorate. Improved circulation directly influences cellular renewal. Cells rely on a constant supply of oxygen and micronutrients to produce energy efficiently. When blood flow improves, mitochondria function more effectively, reducing oxidative stress and supporting stable energy production. This has downstream effects on skin tone, muscle strength, cognitive clarity, and recovery capacity. The body does not simply feel better, it performs better at a cellular level. There is a powerful relationship between circulation and inflammation. Poor blood flow allows inflammatory signals to linger, while healthy circulation helps disperse and resolve them. When tissues are well perfused, immune cells can arrive quickly and leave once their task is complete. This prevents prolonged inflammatory signaling that damages surrounding structures. Over time, this balance preserves tissue integrity and slows the progression of age-related changes. Small, consistent practices that support circulation compound over time. Gentle movement, adequate hydration, and strategies that encourage tissue relaxation improve vascular responsiveness. As blood vessels remain flexible, they adapt better to changing demands. This flexibility protects organs, supports skin health, and maintains joint mobility. The body responds not to intensity, but to regular signals that encourage flow and ease rather than restriction. One of the most revealing indicators of healthy circulation is recovery speed. Individuals with efficient blood and lymphatic flow recover faster from physical exertion, minor injuries, and daily stressors. Their tissues return to baseline quickly instead of remaining in a prolonged state of irritation. This resilience is a hallmark of biological youth. It reflects a system that can adapt, repair, and reset without excessive strain. Over time, enhanced circulation creates a protective buffer against accelerated aging. Tissues remain nourished, waste is efficiently cleared, and inflammatory burden is reduced. Skin retains vitality, muscles preserve function, and joints maintain range of motion. These outcomes are not the result of cosmetic intervention, but of internal systems working as they were designed to work. When circulation and lymphatic flow are supported, the body maintains itself with remarkable efficiency, revealing that many signs of aging are not inevitable, but responsive to how well the internal transport systems are maintained. The balance between acidity and alkalinity inside the body plays a quiet but powerful role in how efficiently cells function and how rapidly aging progresses. Every metabolic reaction produces byproducts, many of which are acidic in nature. Under healthy conditions, the body maintains a tightly regulated pH range through buffering systems involving the kidneys, lungs, and mineral reserves. When these systems are overwhelmed by chronic stress, poor dietary patterns, and insufficient recovery, internal environment becomes strained, placing continuous pressure on tissues and metabolic pathways. A persistently acidic internal state does not mean the blood suddenly becomes unsafe, but it does mean the body must work harder to maintain equilibrium. Minerals are pulled from bones and tissues to neutralize excess acidity. Energy expenditure increases and cellular efficiency declines. Muscles may fatigue more quickly. Connective tissues become more sensitive, and inflammatory signaling is amplified. Over time, this creates a subtle but constant drain on the body's resources, accelerating functional decline that is often misattributed solely to age. Metabolic efficiency depends on enzymes, and enzymes function optimally within specific pH ranges. Even small shifts away from balance can slow enzymatic reactions, reduce the body's ability to convert nutrients into usable energy. When energy production becomes inefficient, cells generate more metabolic waste, which further contributes to internal stress. This cycle creates an environment where tissues struggle to repair and regenerate, and aging-related changes become more pronounced. Stress plays a major role in disrupting internal balance. Chronic psychological stress alters breathing patterns, hormone levels, and kidney function, all of which influence pH regulation. Shallow breathing reduces carbon dioxide exchange, shifting buffering demands. Elevated stress hormones increase metabolic acid production. Over time, the body adapts to this strained state, but at a cost. Recovery slows, inflammation persists, and resilience diminishes. What feels like normal fatigue may actually be a signal of ongoing metabolic imbalance. Dietary patterns further influence this internal environment. Highly processed foods, excess refined sugars, and poor micronutrient intake increase acid load while reducing the availability of minerals needed for buffering. When the body lacks sufficient support, it compensates by drawing from internal reserves. This silent compensation can continue for years before symptoms become obvious. By the time discomfort or stiffness is noticeable, imbalance has often been present for a long time. Gentle buffering strategies can reduce this metabolic strain when used responsibly. The goal is not to override the body's regulatory systems, but to support them. When buffering demands are reduced, cellular energy can be redirected toward maintenance and repair. Muscles recover more efficiently, tissues experience less irritation, and inflammatory signals settle more quickly. These shifts may be subtle at first, but they compound over time, influencing how the body ages, at a fundamental level. One of the most revealing effects of improved internal balance is the sense of metabolic calm. Energy becomes more stable rather than fluctuating sharply throughout the day. Physical activity feels less draining, and recovery occurs more smoothly. This stability reflects improved coordination between metabolic systems rather than increased stimulation. The body operates with less friction, conserving resources instead of constantly compensating. Internal balance does not require extreme interventions or rigid rules. It requires awareness, moderation, and consistency. When the internal environment is supported, cells function within their optimal range, enzymes work efficiently, and repair processes proceed without unnecessary interference. Aging becomes less about accumulating damage and more about maintaining equilibrium. The body, when relieved of constant metabolic strain, demonstrates a remarkable capacity to preserve function, vitality, and resilience over time. The body is highly responsive to patterns, not isolated actions, and this principle explains why consistency and moderation have a far greater impact on long-term health than intensity or short-term effort. Biological systems are designed to adapt gradually to repeated signals. When support is delivered in measured, predictable ways, the body interprets this as a safe environment. Under these conditions, energy is no longer prioritized for defense and stress response, but redirected toward maintenance, repair, and renewal. Excessive or aggressive interventions often create the opposite effect. Sudden changes, extreme regimens, or overcorrection place the body under additional stress, triggering protective responses that interfere with repair processes. Stress hormones rise, inflammatory signaling increases, and metabolic efficiency declines. What appears to be proactive health behavior can unintentionally push the body further into survival mode. Moderation prevents this reaction by allowing physiological systems to remain balanced and responsive, rather than overwhelmed. Consistency shapes immune behavior in particularly powerful ways. When the body receives regular signals of stability, adequate sleep, gentle movement, reliable nourishment, and controlled stress, the immune system recalibrates. Instead of remaining in a heightened defensive posture, it becomes more selective and efficient. Inflammatory responses resolve more quickly, and repair pathways such as tissue remodeling and cellular cleanup are allowed to proceed. Over time, this shift creates visible improvements in energy levels, skin quality, and physical resilience. Repair mechanisms operate best when they are uninterrupted. Processes such as cellular turnover, collagen synthesis, and mitochondrial maintenance require time and metabolic resources. Inconsistent habits disrupt these processes repeatedly, forcing the body to restart rather than progress. Consistent routines provide continuity, allowing repair to advance steadily rather than in short, ineffective bursts. This is why gradual, sustained changes often produce more profound results than dramatic interventions that cannot be maintained. Moderation also preserves sensitivity. When the body is constantly overstimulated through excessive supplementation, extreme exercise, or frequent dietary swings, its responsiveness diminishes. Systems become desensitized, requiring strong inputs to achieve the same effect. Gentle, moderate support maintains sensitivity, allowing smaller inputs to remain effective. This efficiency reduces physiological strain and supports long-term balance rather than escalation. The cumulative effect of consistency becomes evident over time. Small improvements in circulation, inflammation control, and metabolic efficiency add up. Tissues remain better nourished, waste removal improves, and energy production stabilizes. Recovery from daily stressors becomes faster, and physical setbacks are less disruptive. These changes reflect a system that is no longer operating in crisis management mode, but in a state of controlled adaptation. Psychological factors also play a role in sustaining repair. Predictable routines reduce cognitive stress, which directly influences hormonal balance and immune regulation. When the nervous system perceives stability, it signals the body to conserve energy and invest in restoration. This mind-body alignment strengthens the impact of physical habits, reinforcing repair pathways rather than competing with them. Over time, consistent moderation reshapes how the body ages. Instead of accumulating unresolved damage, tissues maintain structure and function more effectively. Energy remains accessible rather than constantly depleted. The body does not resist time, but adapts to it with efficiency and resilience. This pattern-driven approach reveals that lasting health is not created by doing more, but by doing the right things steadily, allowing the body's natural intelligence to guide the process of renewal and maintenance. As we close, remember this. The goal is not to look younger. The goal is to help the body age better. When inflammation is controlled and balance is restored, youthfulness becomes a natural side effect, not a constant struggle. Real longevity begins when you stop working against your body and start working with it.